Impact segment tonight. America has two big foreign problems right now in Afghanistan and Mexico. As you know, the Mexican government is fighting the drug cartels, and some of that violence is spilling over to the USA.
Obviously, there have been calls to increase National Guard troops on the borders. That's something that we are considering, but we want to first see whether some of the steps that we've taken can help quell some of the violence.
Joining us now from Washington, Fox News analyst Newt Gingrich, who has a new DVD out on Ronald Reagan that we recommend. You'll enjoy it. Okay, let's go to Mexico first. In the year 2000, I called for the National Guard on the border to stem illegal alien activity and drug activity. President Clinton at the time didn't do it. Bush took 6 years to do it, finally put 2,500 down there. In the sectors the Guard was, everything almost stopped because obviously a big inhibitor for any kind of smuggling operation. And now we have this spillover violence. So if you were president, Mr. Speaker, what would you do?
Well, I think, first of all, we need a program to absolutely control the southern border. There's no question that we have drugs coming in, we have guns going out, we have an open danger of Hezbollah and other terrorist groups using the drug dealers' routes to get things in the United States. Every country has the right to control their border. We should control the Mexican border. We should also move on legal immigration and develop a guest worker program, because I think as part of controlling the border, you have to have a solution on immigration.
Yeah, I agree
frankly,
with that.
Bill, let me go one step further, though. I think we in the United States should develop a dramatically stronger anti-drug program in our own country. It is disgraceful that we and the Europeans are the primary purchasers of drugs. We are funding the drug cartel in Mexico. The Europeans are funding the heroin growth in Afghanistan. And in a sense, our illegal behavior then creates problems in these other countries.
All right, we'll get to that in a moment, because I'm interested in that as well. So you would move military to the border if you were president?
I would absolutely use the National Guard in the interim. I would prepare a permanent ability to control the border and do whatever steps it took to be able to absolutely control the border. Both ways. I think we owe it to Mexico to ensure that guns and other things aren't going south.
Absolutely. If you have the Guard down there, it works both ways. The guns don't go in, the drugs don't go back. All right, now on the drug policy situation, I don't know whether you know this, but I did one of my papers at Harvard on this, on how to reduce demand for drugs. But the United States has never figured it out. You can't lock up drug users. I mean, that doesn't work. And you can't force them into rehab. You have to want rehab. Even if you want it, it's very hard to get off hard drugs and alcohol. Very hard to kick it. What you can do, though, is sanction people along the way. And this is what they do in Singapore. If you're caught possessing drugs, and that means drugs in your bloodstream, they take a little hair thing and they put it in there, then you have to go to mandatory rehab. And they have centers where you go. Now, they have no drug problem in Singapore at all. Number one, because they hang drug dealers. They execute them. And number two, because the market is very thin, because when they catch you using, you go away with a mandatory rehab. And you go to some rehab center, which they have, the government has built. The United States does not have the stomach for that. We don't have the stomach for that, Mr. Speaker.
Well, I think it's time we get the stomach for that, Bill. I think we need a program, and I would dramatically expand testing. I think that we have, and I agree with you, I would tie use to rehabilitation. I'd make it mandatory. And I think we have every right as a country to demand of our citizens that they quit doing illegal things, which are funding, both in Afghanistan and in Mexico and in Colombia, people who are destroying civilization.
Can you imagine
the war in Mexico is well, look, I think we need to have a straight-out debate.
If you're sending little Billy, who's 16, to a rehab center because he's using cocaine or meth, can you imagine the ACLU? I mean, these people would melt down. But that is the only solution. The only solution.
We need a national debate between those of us who are serious about getting America back on the right track and those who are keys to keeping America on the wrong track.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's that straightforward.
I'm not a crook.